revolution starting inside. An instrumental part of Agora worldwide. Agora worldwide, Agora worldwide. Counter economics, Agorist strip. Black market click, move a quick flip. Can't regulate this, Agorist strip. Black market click, move a quick flip. Can't regulate this, Agorist.
Agorist.
Agorist. Nexus, Agorist.
Agorist.
This is Brandon with the Agorist Nexus podcast. I've got my great co-host Dag. How you doing, Dag?
Hey, I'm doing pretty darn good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Good.
Good.
We've got a great guest on today. TechnoAgorist. I listen to his stuff because it's just really good. It's really short. You can get episodes in super quickly, and then we're really glad to announce that he's now writing for us. So yeah, with that said, we've got Ryan. How you doing, Ryan, the TechnoAgorist?
Howdy. Thank you for having me on your show. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. How did you decide on doing your podcast or starting it?
Oh, well, dude, the market is so freaking just flooded.
Saturated, yeah.
Saturated, that's the word. With these very undisciplined kind of long form, shows. It's like everybody wants to be Joe Rogan. And, everybody, granted, I don't even listen to Joe Rogan. I'll listen to a couple guests here and there, but seriously, that long form thing, most of the time when people talk for hours or even just like an hour show, the actual points and unique information they had to offer can, is less than 10 minutes of that time, So I've always been the guy who I'm like, I don't want to sit and listen to them just kind of go around and around for an hour. I want to get in, get out, figure out what the point is, what the extra special thing that they have to offer is, or that they bring to the conversation. So my show, it's kind of a response to that, kind of my own little protest to that. I'm like, well, while everybody else just wants to hang out and just kind of do their thing forever and not actually get to the point, I'm like, I want to get in there and I want to get my point in as quickly and as concisely and clearly as possible and get out. So, that's where mine came from.
Yeah,
the show kind of that I like to listen to. I wish there were more.
Should we feel personally attacked, Brandon?
I feel personally no. I'm not. There's criticisms on a lot of stuff, and many times rightfully so. But yeah, it's really refreshing podcast. You can get episodes in really quickly. So, little quickies or whatnot. So yeah, it's just a podcast I really enjoy. A lot of times I don't have time to do stuff, but I'm usually able to get in one of your episodes. So,
and there's really no excuse.
And like you said, you get to the point
that it's I was just saying, that it's not nice and short and quick, man. What do they average, about 5 minutes or so? And that's definitely out of the norm. Even a lot of the shorter podcasts, maybe around 20 minutes or so. And like I was telling you before we started, I was like, at first time I started listening to it, I was like, 5 minutes. I was like what the heck? Once I listened to a few of them, I was like, oh, okay, no, these are great. It's, you're plenty of info and again, right to the point. It's quick. And, I feel like if you're doing a podcast where especially it's like solo, there's only one person, there's no co-host, there's no guest, you really got to be in and out, because like very few people can just talk for 30 minutes, an hour and be captivating. That's a rare
man.
skill.
My friend Cam Harless, he's the host of the Mad Ones. He and I run a little podcasting network called the Mlga Network. And we produce, a couple of shows or a few shows. And, that's something we've talked about many times. Like you need one of two things if you're going to have a show. All right. You need to have either a specialty, like knowledge, special knowledge, that other people don't have, that they can learn something from you, like the historian or the economist, or the property rights guy, or like there's your very clear angle. This is the specialty I have that most people don't. This is what I have to offer. So you need a really good angle, like a specialty, or you need to be a personality that people love listening to. So most people, most people aren't actually that interesting that you just want to listen to them for a long time, and most people don't have a particular specialty. It's just like, hey, I'm a dude and I'm going to talk about this stuff, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want the show to be good, there has to be some sort of hook. There has to be something. So whether you add more people in to add more angles to make it interesting or something, you got to do something, because unless you have one of those two things, it's just going to be kind of boring.
All right. Well, I'm ready to can this episode right now. Then.
Yeah, I think we're coming up on about 5 minutes. So to make you feel at home, we're gonna go ahead and wrap.
Yeah, you got me. Yeah, show's over, guys. Show's over.
So the general gist of your show, though, I would assume, is technical stuff, as your name is TechnoAgorist. Would that be accurate?
Well, just for the record, I go by Agorist, but
instead of Agorist?
Yeah, there's always that back and forth. I've always been the Agorist guy on the Agorist side, while then there's the more serious people. That's the way I found it. The ones who take themselves more seriously go by Agorist, and I'm just like, I'm an Agorist. But
yeah, doing this show made me have to start saying Agorist, because I said Agorist, and then it was like, I don't know, it was just after I started doing this, and I don't know, I had to go to Agorist because that's the way the Konkin said it. So, I have to say it that way. But yeah, it's just a pronunciation. Honestly, Agorist probably sounds more natural with my.
It does. It flows better, and that's exactly why I do it. For me personally, it flows better.
Yeah, everyone always asks me, like, well, is it Agorist or Agorist? And I always say it doesn't really matter. It's tomato or tomato. Potato, same.
I mean, obviously, Agora, like, we understand that pronunciation. Everyone agrees that the Agora is the Agora. It doesn't mean you have to be an Agorist, in my opinion. But yeah, my show, it's just agorism, more practical agorism with a technical angle to it, because I'm a software developer. I work in crypto. I work in all this fun, cool stuff, but that's what's always on my brain: computers and tech and software and blockchains and all that fun stuff. That's what's in the forefront of my brain. So that's what I talk about. That's my kind of my hook.
Yeah, as an example, your recent episode, or most recent episode, was some of the new I don't want to say privacy features of the iPhone, but security features. There we go. That's what they're calling them.
They
right?
build them as security and privacy features, right?
You made like this point you made is like, okay, like they're talking about like so basically, I don't want to give away the whole podcast, but like like they were saying, like the computers will analyze your photos, and like if they're nudes, they'll send them to like a person to look at them and judge whether or not they're children or not. And it's so basically all your nudes are going to go looked at by some weirdo. And it was like a South Park episode, dude. That's insane.
Obviously, how is anybody okay with this, man? It's just so over the top. But
they call it a feature, so it's okay.
Yeah, security and privacy feature.
So, does your job allow you to like work from home and everything?
Yes. Yep,
that's excellent. That's huge.
Yeah, that's why we were able to move. I mean, we were in Pennsylvania last year, the third largest city, and living downtown. And when all this crap hit, like, dude, we had to get out. It felt like we were suffocating because everything was worse up north, and especially in the cities. But yeah, I was so freaking thankful to Jesus that we were able to, that we could pack up and say, okay, guess what? We're moving. So it's good.
So y'all are down here in Florida. You're not too far from me, actually. So that's cool. Welcome to the state.
Thank you.
Definitely definitely glad to have, more liberty minded people here. That's always a plus. Do you like it so far? I mean, as far as compared to Pennsylvania, this has kind of been a theme of the show here recently, is like, I hate to use the term voting with your feet, but everybody understands, right? But like, we've been talking a little bit about that, moving to
Right.
find freedom or whatever you have to do. How's it going so far being down here from Pennsylvania? Do you even get out enough to notice or what?
Oh, it's great. So far, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I'm enjoying not having car inspections. I enjoy the fact that we are able to sell our home in downtown Allentown, move down here, buy multiple acres in the middle of the Ocala National Forest on a lake, and put a home down for, 20,000 more than we sold our house for. That's pretty freaking darn cool, So that makes me happy. If nothing else, that's huge in my book.
Yeah, that's really great. Were you from like a city or something up north, or have you ever lived in a rural area before?
Yeah, I mean, I've spent parts of my life living in more rural areas, and I grew up in a small town, so everyone was in the woods playing all the time. It wasn't until I was, an adult that I moved into the city. But, there was a big part of me that really wanted to give my kids the experience of stepping outside and running through the woods and just, that freedom. It's like kids need that as
Dude,
much as I do.
totally agree. I mean, I grew up like in the woods, and then my folks moved me to a city when I was like a teenager, and I was unhappy with that move for sure. And I'm back out sort of in the country now, but I remember, like, I grew up in a very rural area in Sumter County and in the woods and stuff. But I remember going and like camping in the Ocala forest, and like the amount of stars you could see in Ocala compared to where I was in Sumter was insane.
Mhm.
Like, it was so much. I remember just watching satellites, all night floating
Right.
across the sky, man. Really beautiful up there, man. So that's really awesome, man. You picked a great place. How did you find, what made you want to go there of all the places in Florida? If you knew you wanted to go to Florida, for probably a lot of reasons, what made the Ocala forest stand out to you?
Well, my wife kind of picked it out on a map. She was looking at places in Florida. We were considering Florida, Texas, Missouri, Idaho, Tennessee. We were looking at all these different places. What are the pros? What are the cons? Am I able to interact to a network for my work? My software, or plus, how much can we garden and plant? What are the rules with animals and all this stuff, state income taxes. And yeah, we just wanted to be more free, So eventually we whittled it down to Florida. And we said, well, nobody really comes close to Florida just in general in terms of freedom. So, I mean, they have things they're worse on, like gun rights and whatever, but still, in general, they're the best. And yeah, she was looking at the map. It's like, okay, maybe this area. So she just started reading up on places and looking at houses or looking at land, and very quickly saw there's a lot of land. Excuse me. There's a lot of land available in this area, and it is beautiful land. And the more she looked into it, she saw that in some ways, it's kind of the most like Pennsylvania that you'll find, because we love Pennsylvania. We never wanted to leave. But in many ways, it's the most like Pennsylvania you can find in Florida. You have you have rolling hills out here. You have big old pine forests. It's just beautiful, incredible. So we came down here for business. And then while we were down in the Orlando area, we decided to head up here just to take a look. So we were just going to go for one day, kind of drive through the town, look around, and we absolutely loved it. So we ended up staying a few days with the kids, and we just, drove around, went to the parks and poked our head in, looked at a few different properties, and went back to Pennsylvania and said, well, that's the place for us.
That's great, man. And I definitely think that's the right thing to do if you have the opportunity, is to, if there's somewhere you're considering moving, don't just go visit like for a day, like, go stay for a little bit, do some of the regular stuff, that you would if you were living there, go to the grocery store, whatever, and really try to get a feel for for what it's going to be like, staying there. I one time moved far away. I moved to Milwaukee and made it a few months, but like, yeah, man, it's, it can definitely be a bit different. So, and it'd be intimidating to me. Maybe that's just me being weak and not adventurous, but yeah, man, I think that's a good way to go spend a little bit of time there first instead of just guessing that you're going to like it.
Hey guys, quick pause here to tell you about our sponsor, Devault Cryptocurrency. Ticker symbol DVT is a low cap coin with a market cap around 900,000. So there could be room for opportunity here. Not financial advice, but we really like this project.
Yeah, the Devault core wallet is one of the best I've ever seen. Very user friendly, super easy to use with cold staking rewards. So it's like getting interest. They're working on privacy with Terraform, also DeFi to decentralize and replace financial institutions.
So go ahead and check them out over at devault.cc and get you a Devault core wallet today. Also, be sure to check out the show notes to find exchanges that they are traded on. With that said, let's get back to the show.
Yeah, when I moved down to Mexico, I had to I definitely had to check out places and be here for more than just a couple of weeks for sure. This is not only a different country, but it's different culture and just some of the day-to-day stuff. They do things a lot differently. But yeah, that's really cool that you picked Florida. It seems like a bunch of people are picking Florida now, and I can see why. I wanted to pick Florida too, but I love the inexpensiveness of Mexico, and then also, I can, bribe police if I really need to, or doctors, or whatever. So there's that kind of aspect, especially now that we're living in medical hell. Being able to bribe doctors for certain documents are it's definitely a plus. I feel so. Yeah, and I think most agorists are trying to, if not already, they're trying to get land to be able to homestead, to be self-sufficient. Do you have things that you're working on, or are you getting into solar, or what kind of sustainability are you going towards?
Well, yeah, it's been rough, man, because we've only been on our land for a few months now, so we're way behind from where we wanted to be. Like, we were supposed to have moved at the very beginning of the year, so we'd already be, as of now, like 10 months in, as opposed to, just a few months in. So yeah, we're behind. We're kind of working as fast as we can to catch up because things are getting so bad so fast. So we're working on our water collection right now, just collecting rain. Granted, we have the lake behind the house, so we do have above ground water. That's good, but that's a little ways away. So working on rainwater, where we have our generator system set up, or at least mostly set up. We're getting there. Working on the garden, building a 12 by 24. Haven't started on it, but I've been planning it. The covered thing, because there's just so many creatures out here. You can't have anything out in the open or it's just going to be destroyed. And then solar is on the list, but solar is farther down. First, we need to have the garden, the chickens, the cow, and everything, that stuff set up. Then we'll be moving to solar, or adding that on. One step at a time.
Well, how many acres do you have?
It's only 3. So it's not a huge spread. I mean, granted, it feels huge, to be honest. But the cool thing is, we're in the Ocala National Forest. So you step off our property and you are in the Ocala National Forest. So, I mean, to be fair, the forest is our yard. So it's freaking cool. You step off the back of the property and you're in a lake, or you step off the front and you're in the national forest. So it works for us. The only rules in the forest are don't start a fire and, don't shoot stuff. So works for me. Basically means you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's national forest is, to me, is public property. And well, I actually wrote an article on property use on Agorist Nexus called "The Contaminated Water and the Navajo and the Contaminated Water Problem," and in it, I basically state, like, what is property, and Storm Del Gore, another writer for Agorist Nexus, he actually helped me a little bit with that article, and yeah, it's like, okay, so it's public property, so I'm a taxpayer, so I'm part owner, so technically, I can do I can do what I want with public property. So
Amen.
yeah, and if anyone wants to debate me, go read that article and state in the comments otherwise. Or I think there's even, I don't know if we've got an audio article for it out yet, but yeah, there'll be Odysee too, that you'll be able to library that you'll be able to make comments in on it. But yeah, tell me how you got into libertarianism and agorism.
Well, yeah, that's a great story. I always like to shock people with it, but I voted for McCain in 2008, and I voted for him. I'd already been on somewhat of a journey, but I kept telling myself, well, he's no Barack Obama. We can't have a Barack Obama, in the government. So you just got to suck it up and vote for McCain. Well, I went and I voted for him. And the minute I stepped out of the polling place, like, my heart just like sunk into my feet, and I just felt awful. Just that deep, gross feeling when you've done something that is wrong. And I went, oh, what is wrong with me that I would actually pull the lever for that dude? Like, there's something broken in me that I could, that I would stoop to that level, So
Well,
I went home and I said,
blame people less and less now because of how bad Obama was, but yeah,
And I mean, if it's any consolation, your vote definitely didn't matter. So
I know. I was very glad that he didn't win, because
then
if he
you
had
really
won,
have to feel shitty.
well, I know exactly. I wrote an article once called "There is no such thing as a vote against," because there is no such thing as a vote against.
Yeah.
All you can do is give your positive affirmation for this person, and if that person wins, you are at least partially responsible for what they do. And that sucks, man. So yeah, you don't want that. That's also why I haven't voted for anybody in any federal office since then. Well,
I voted for Obama in 2008, so I feel you.
I did vote one time, to be fair. But yeah, seriously, like, I stopped and I said, I'm done. If I'm so broken that I would just, like, put my weight behind someone as awful as that, something must be broken. So I just went home and just started reading. And yeah, who was it? It was Glenn Beck. I was listening to Glenn Beck at the time, speaking of things I did back in 2008. And he had Gerald Celente on. And I heard him and I said, this guy is fascinating. I want to hear more of what he has to say. So I saw that he was on the show, the Alex Jones show, InfoWars. I was like, all right, let's listen to that show. So I turned it on. It's like, oh, this is that crazy conspiracy nut that people talk about. Okay, there we go. And then he said, next up, Congressman Ron Paul. And I went, Ron Paul? He was that guy that Rush said not to listen to, because I listened to Rush back then too. And Rush said, whatever you do not listen to that little man on the stage. Just ignore anything he has to say. But yeah, so I heard Ron Paul. Yeah, and I was blown away, absolutely blown away. So I ordered a bunch of his books. And while I was reading his books, I saw the forward to Gold, Peace, and Prosperity, forward by Murray Rothbard. And I said, well, I don't know who this guy is, but I'll go ahead and order some books from him. So I went to the Mises Institute, which was linked to, started looking at the books, found that I could download them for free and listen to them for free. So I started listening to every single Rothbard book ever written and was just blown away. And I thought I was the only person in the world who knew about the Mises Institute. Found out a few years later I wasn't the only one. But seriously, after Rothbard ruined me, ruined me to the status quo. And from there, it was, the journey many people take, which is from journey to anarcho-capitalism. I'm an anarcho-capitalist. But then it just kind of feels hollow. And you're like, what am I supposed to be doing? Once I heard about, I saw the new Libertarian Manifesto. I didn't know anything about it. I was like, sure, I can read a new Libertarian Manifesto. It's a short book anyway. Why not? And boy, oh boy, did it blow me away. Konkin got it, man. So once I read him, I was ruined to just, obviously he says himself that our ends are the same, agorism and anarcho-capitalism. Anarcho-capitalism, that's the end that we're working toward. But agorism is about the means, how we get from point A to point B, and it's not politics. That resounded so much with me. And yeah, that's when I jumped on board that train.
Yeah, man, and that's real similar. At least the coming to agorism thing. You get to be you're an ANCAP, and you're like, okay, great, like we're right about everything. I know that politics isn't the way to go, so it's like, what now? And yeah, once I started learning about agorism, it's just like, oh well, kind of my lifestyle anyhow. I didn't really have to change anything, but it it gave me, I don't know, what did it really change for me? Yeah, I guess I say I can get more dedicated to avoiding the state, but really like it's maybe like, I don't know, is hope the right word? Like, it's like, okay, well, it's what my life has more of a purpose than just being, just the blue collar dude that I am, let's say. It's like, okay, now maybe I am contributing on some larger level. So that made me feel good, and like you said, man, you read Konkin, it's simple. At least if you already know anarcho-capitalism, you're there, and it's like, oh yeah, dude. And it definitely reinforces the politics isn't an option thing, because I gotta admit, dude, well, yeah, and that shit gets ingrained deep in you. There's definitely times, like even like now, let's say once a year, I go, if there was this or that on the ballot, should I go vote for it? Like, what if it was a real fucking, what if we had the chance to make this fucking thing legalized or whatever it is, And I think about it and go, no, nah, still not interested, but it's still there. Like and I think some of it is that people want to do something, so even like big L libertarians, it's like they feel like they want to do something to make this shit happen. And it's like, I totally get it. It's there's definitely that desire for sure.
Yeah, but making a fool of yourself with a toy political party is a way to do it.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Yep,
you can't get more diluted than freaking libertarians, man. Like big L
man, because if you come there after, like, you're there because you've seen how much of a mess it is. It's like, why, dude? Like, why?
I want to be a libertarian, but I want to be less effective, or I want to align myself with more idiots.
Yeah. But I get the need to want to do something, but you can do that with agorism. That's the thing, and you can actually be helping people, be helping yourself.
Yeah, if politics is a viable option, okay, then the libertarians are the least effective means of getting anywhere.
Yeah,
like I'm completely 100%. If I was going to be a political action guy, I'd be with Though Bishop and Jeff Deist and the Mises guys, who are just like, no, why would we support a toy party who's never going to accomplish anything? The only thing they're good at is losing. Like, there's no point. So you might as well just, dig in, whether you're going with a major party or whatever, and just whatever, and not make it a principled thing. Instead, just make it a issue thing. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's why Ron Paul ran as a Republican for president. Yes. And not because he knew in 1988 that he couldn't do it as a libertarian, for sure. Yeah,
exactly. And he won, and he made more of a impact than the Libertarian Party has done in
50
going on
years.
50 years.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it's funny that we're talking about this
so
because I'm
that
writing
says a lot.
I'm writing an article that on politics here that should come out in the next week. Yeah, and I wanted to chip in earlier with the now for me, agorism was actually a lifestyle change, going from like more of the anarcho-capitalist to agorism. It was a huge lifestyle change for me. Like I, naturally I'd always wanted to like avoid taxes and pay less. But finding out about agorism was like, okay, now I have something to work towards. I want to be completely self-sufficient. I want to, not pay anything to the state at all. And so yeah, I guess I'm going off on a rant here, but yeah, somebody help me out.
No, that's completely fair, and that makes sense. Like anarcho-capitalism, when it comes down to it, it's just living like everybody else, but buying gold. That really, in practical terms, is a lot of times what it comes down to. But then when you get past that, when you move, for example, I was already living a very agorist lifestyle, but it wasn't because of anything I got from the Mises Institute. It was because of what I got from Alex Jones and InfoWars, because they're all about, self-sufficiency, being able to grow and store and, keep your own food, being able to get your own power, being able to get your own water. How are you going to, if the shit hits the fan, or excuse me, when it hits the fan, how are you going to survive? What are you going to do? Those, if you live with that reality in mind, as in, I don't want to be reliant on anybody, you fall into agorism naturally. So that was already the way I was living before I found out about Conk, and I went, there we go. That makes sense. Like it kind of gave a name and a system, not a system. I hate that word, but it just fit. Counter economics, like making yourself as free as possible now and finding ways to get all the necessary things you need without relying on the state. That's just simple and beautiful. It just works. But yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That's great. Have you had much experience doing like homesteading stuff like before? Like, have you had like, livestock or anything in the past, or is this going to be new to you?
Chickens, and we're looking at a mini Jersey cow that is new to us. So it's definitely going to be a learning curve, but
A miniature cow.
Yeah, those mini Jersey cows, man, they're really cool. They're easier to
I've heard
care
good
for.
things.
Yeah, easier to care for than the full size ones. They don't require as much land. For our 3 acres, that's more than enough for one. We could even have 2 if we wanted to. And
Oh, wow.
but one will make plenty of milk for our family. So
Okay, so that's
I-
the primary purpose is making milk.
yep, we're not interested in, really, we live next to a rancher's field. If you step outside at night, you hear the cows all mooing off in the distance. There's tons of cows. We met the farmer before we even moved here, and he said, yeah, as soon as you're ready, just holler, point to whichever one you want, and I'll send it to the butcher of your choice. And you want to know what? Our next door neighbor is a butcher. So
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, seriously, it's so cool, man. We couldn't have found a more perfect spot. But there's, like I said, the cows are right there. Like you can see the cows are eating your grass, the same grass you have at your home, and
Yeah.
you're gonna. It's just, it's cool. Like this is community. We could point to any one of those cows, give it to our neighbor who will butcher it. We'll get to eat it at our home. That's our neighbor on the one side. If you go to the neighbor on the other side, the dude owns many acres back there. He's building a house, a cabin with his bare hands with wood he cuts himself from his own land.
Makes me feel like a weenie.
Oh, I know. Same year. But when we moved in, he said, let me tell you one thing. All right. He goes, the people around here are fine. And you'll do great with your neighbors as long as you know one thing. You leave your neighbors alone, they'll leave you alone. I said, well, that's great. I like that a lot better than where I was in Pennsylvania, where, everyone was looking over everyone's shoulder all the freaking time. It's like, oh crap, I forgot my keys. Should I run the 15 feet into the house and grab the keys while leaving the kids in the van? Or is somebody going to call the cops and say that I left the kids in the van while I went in to get my keys? It's like, you just always looking over your shoulder. My brother, I've told this story a few times. My brother was visiting and he was in college. And, every guy in his early 20s has to go through the super hairy phase. They just grow their hair out long and they look all shaggy and stupid. No offense. But he was in his shaggy phase. And the neighbor, few days after my brother was visiting, neighbor calls me over and says, hey, I think there's a homeless person living in front of your house. There's that car down there and this really shaggy guy keeps showing up there. So I'm going to call the police on him. I just want to give you a heads up, so you're not surprised when the police show up at your house. It's like, what's wrong with you, man?
Could you not do that, please?
But that's just what he would do. That's what the neighbor, Now, to be fair, he also stopped a robbery once because he was watching out his windows and saw somebody, breaking into a house. So that is fair. That's one of the upsides. But at the same time,
he called you first. So, I mean, just,
I appreciate,
that was thoughtful,
I do appreciate that. But in general, I would rather risk the robber than live with somebody looking over my shoulder every moment of every day, Yeah.
Yeah. Because then, they're watching you do all your shit. I don't know, man. Yeah, I don't dig on that. I live out in the sticks because, yeah. Same kind of thing. I like to be left alone, and I feel like most people who live out in rural areas kind of have that sentiment. I'm sure not all. I'm sure there's some busybodies, but that's why they live out there. So for the most part, everyone, I mean, at least in my area, everyone's got a real good case of mind of their own business. It's pretty nice.
That's the best thing about Florida that we found so far. That people really do just want to be left alone. And you want to know the great thing? It doesn't matter what political party you are. It doesn't matter your beliefs or your religion or your this or your that or anything. If you just leave people alone and do your thing, like you can all interact wonderfully together. There's no issues. Nobody has to know or care about any of that stuff because you're just living life. And guess what? You're interacting great with your neighbors because you each just, have the decency to leave each other alone. Imagine that.
Yeah, like I'll get people, I run into people who are just rude or whatever, of course. Like there's people who just suck, but like really like throughout like this whole pandemic thing, like nobody's said anything to me like once or twice to get a business or something because it's like a policy, but like nobody's just like regular person is like bitch to be about not wearing a mask. And I think I was talking about this in a recent episode, but it's like that's something that to them, I am killing their grandma. Like that must be awful for them to sit there and keep their mouth shut about it. You know what I mean? But nobody said anything to me. So either it's not that bad and they're just minding their own business, or they're at least polite enough, in a state where basically everybody's armed to not go, talking shit to strangers. Not that I'd shoot somebody for saying anything like that. That's not my point. It's just that you kind of watch yourself a little more, when you know that, I think. So, but yeah, man, for the most part, people just leave you alone. But I try to avoid the cities. I mean, yeah, you run into some issues in the cities, but I mean, out here, dude, it's just been so nice. It really has. And, I was saying to a neighbor recently, I was talking to them and I was like, man, like, everyone's freaking out like when Trump got elected and this whole country's going crazy and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, like, I just like physically look around and it's like, man, nothing's changed on our street here in the 6 years I've been here. Like coronavirus, Trump, whatever, it doesn't matter, dude. Like we have our space, we do what we can for ourselves. And it's just great, man. It's freeing. Like it's, like I know so many people are just so caught up in the news and they just, you see it in their eyes. They're terrified all the time, man. It's awful, man. I feel for them.
I feel for them, but also it's wild, that look in their eye, like that fight or flight, man. That's scary because that's what causes people to do irrational things. When they have that fear that deep, like you need to watch out for those people. That's a bad place to be. And that's one of the main reasons we wanted out of Pennsylvania. I mean, unlike here, yes, in Pennsylvania, they would stop you in a store, somebody, and talk down to you. Or like, what are you doing? They had police guarding stores. Once I had to literally duck behind a cop in order to get into a store without a stupid mask. I never wore a mask when I was up there. Never. Okay. Even though it was mandated. I was like, on principle, I am not doing this. It's disgusting. I'm not taking a part in this. I'm not going to promote the status quo by putting a symbol of submission on my face.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but it got exhausting. It was exhausting. I did get a Rorschach mask. I was like, if any of these freaks ever force me to wear a mask, I'm going to pull that Rorschach mask on, and then see how they like that. But yeah, never needed to wear it. But moved down here, and I did get kicked. I've been kicked out of multiple businesses. It just sucks. It's stupid, freaking Cricket Mobile. Excuse me, sir, get out. You need a mask on. I'm calling the police. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, but it's some little girl on a power trip, and it's, get out. I'm calling the cops on you. Oh, shut up. Whatever. But yeah, same with Best Buy, man. They were nuts. What the heck is their deal? Seeing grown men standing, like shielding their face, holding a box of masks out to you. Take one, sir. Please put it on. Please put it on for the sake of everybody else here. Are you insane? But just live in strange times. But thankfully, the regular folks around here are, generally just good, leave you alone folks. But there are lots of rude folks too. But they're the weird, the ones, the gaunt, druggy looking faces. And there's a lot of those too.
Yeah.
But you just watch out for those.
as long as they, for the most part, leave you alone, though. Fuck it.
They do. They do.
they can look however they want and be rude.
As long as you get off the road before the old lady in the pickup truck zooms by, they'll everything will be fine.
Yep. Oh man. So you actually just wrote I don't know if we mentioned this, you actually just wrote an article for Agorist Nexus on your move. It was really good. I read it earlier. So definitely everybody check that out. We'll link to it. So hopefully we'll get some more stuff from you in the future. Was this your first article with the Nexus?
Yes. Yep. So I'm hoping to start writing maybe one a week, because my plan is to post it with you guys, premiere it with you guys. And then I will then cross post to my TechnoAgorist and record it as an episode. So it's good incentive for me that I get to, it'll premiere with you guys, and it'll be cross posted to Libertarian Institute, to TechnoAgorist, and then turn into an episode. So it'll help get me back on the content train, because
Nice.
It's been too long since I've released regular content.
Yeah, it has, man. I've been looking forward to an episode, and I think your last one was in September, and but yeah, I definitely want to say thank you for contributing to Nexus. I can't thank you enough, so we really appreciate that.
Well, I'm happy to do it, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's take a quick second to shout out Agorist Acres seeds. AgoristAcres.com stocks a variety of seeds for your garden or homestead. They also have really cool packaging instead of those silly paper envelopes.
Buy seeds with crypto, support the counter economy, and become self-sustaining today. Agorist Acres offers fast shipping, so you can get started right away.
Make sure you use code Nexus10 at the checkout for 10% off of your orders. Also, they will donate a portion of the sale to Agorist Nexus, helping to bring you all the great content you expect. And all right, let's get on with it.
Cool. Well, was there anything else you wanted to plug, or Dag, did you have anything before?
No, not really. This was a hoot. I would just want to once again, man, say I'm glad that this move's working out for you, dude. I just saw this story from it's from the UK, and it's from October. Basically, this girl, she's 16, she's facing terrorism charges after being caught with instructions on how to build a homemade gun. So no gun or anything, just like digital instructions, on how to build one. And she's being charged with like terrorism.
Oh shit!
And I'm just like, damn, like I'm glad to be. in the U.S. and I'm glad to be in Florida. Like I really am with shit like that's going on, you know. But I'm not saying that the U.S. is the best place or Florida's the best place in the world. I'm not saying that. I'm just like, fuck, it could be a hell of a lot worse, you know. And I hate to say, like, I hate when I say things like that because it just feels like I'm giving credit to the government of those areas, and that's like not the case. But it's like, I don't know, you can suck less and still be evil, I guess. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's fair.
So, but yeah, anyhow, man, I was just like looking at it, just like, man, like what a fucking world that is to live in, where like, you know, you can't even think about, you know, having a gun or even just being engineering, you know, and want to look at plans for something, you know. It's just crazy, you know, and it's I don't know. It's nice that at least for now we can still do that here, you know, legally.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Time will tell how that works.
Yeah.
But what people don't realize is it's our property. It's my computer. Who in the world, who are you to say what, you know, bits I'm allowed to have on my computer, on my property? Like, we live in such weird times where, I don't know, they act like this stuff isn't cut and dry and simple. It really is simple. It's my computer. I can put this movie on here, or I can put this file on here. I'm not hurting anybody. But yeah, weird times, man. Only time will tell how bad it gets. But the white pill, the good thing is crypto technology, man. Blockchains. This stuff is incredible. And the amount of things it's opening up. The world, I mean, like the Ethereum virtual machine, like you have decentralized computer across the entire face of the planet, and you have all these brand new markets opening up, all this new innovation that's happening completely separate from the state. You know, like this is incredible. And you have dudes like us, you know, who are able to make money, you know, inside these markets, and use that money then toward actual innovation and something other than, you know, just propping up the status quo. Like, that's huge. That's kind of one of the few things that makes me happy these days, you know, that gives me actual hope for, you know, in this world.
Well, yeah, man. And I mean, it's you know, the technology is really allowing us to make government obsolete, you know, and even if we want to, let's say somebody wants to make the claim that at some point in time, like, okay, government was necessary for this, that, or the other, you know, whatever, titles to houses and deeds and shit. Like, well, like that's no longer necessary because of a lot of these really cool crypto projects going on. Like there's just in every way, shape, or form making them obsolete, both from the practical and just like I don't know, man. It's just really great. And a lot of the it's over my head, but like I at least recognize enough of it to recognize that there's some really serious potential there. And it's just really incredible.
Oh, I was just bitching with some friends about that yesterday. It's so obnoxious that there is so much power in crypto technology and blockchain technology. Everything the government does can be completely decentralized, federated, and, you know, not coerced, and yet be done better than the government ever could. So, I mean, especially when it comes to things like, you know, property deeds and all this stuff. And yet, the only way we see that used actually in crypto right now is freaking pixelated cats and that NFT crap that people sell.
Exactly.
It hurts. I'm like, oh, anytime someone brings up NFTs, you think I should buy some NFTs? I'm like, shut up.
I know. I don't.
Granted, it is the free market. It's just so stupid, though.
Yeah, it's like you know, you're buying a little JPEG for thousands of dollars, and it's like, man, I think that the crypto that you're buying it with is probably more valuable and more usable. But you know, who am I to tell you what to buy or whatnot? But
you're torn. You're like, this is so dumb. But I'm glad somebody has the
right to
someone to do it. You know,
it makes me feel like I'm missing something with the whole NFT thing, because I'm like, why is everybody using this for like the stupid things like the JPEGs? Why are we not using this to buy and sell property?
I think it's on purpose. Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's being pushed specifically in the media. Especially, I mean, why is the media talking about it? The media doesn't talk about the Ethereum virtual machine. They don't talk about that there's a worldwide decentralized computer that no government could ever dream of stopping. Like, and you can run arbitrary code and nobody can censor that or stop that. They don't talk about that kind of stuff. They don't talk about the different markets that are being built. They don't talk about the completely decentralized, KYC free exchanges that are popping up all over the place now. I even get to work on some of those. Like, they don't talk about that, Amazon Web Service type services are popping up now, but that are decentralized, and you can access over completely decentralized, blockchain networks to get a lot of those same services, but without having a central, controlling entity like AWS. They don't talk about any of that. Instead, they hype and they push these stupid little NFTs. And I think I am 100% convinced it is a very purposeful, distraction. It's pushing people to see this technology as a joke, because it's not a joke. But if every time you bring up blockchains as using them for any type of legal
JPEG
blockchains are the perfect way to keep records. Basically, perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And with the new technology that's coming from Ethereum in particular, where you're going to have a 100% reliable blockchain, but no one person has to even have the entire blockchain on their device. Like, this stuff is so freaking powerful. And yet, rather than use it for all the cool things it could be used for, they push the stupid JPEGs and things. So anytime people think of blockchains as keeping records, it's, oh yeah, keeping records of ownership of, stupid crap.
Yeah, and they
Makes sense.
they don't even talk about it as it could be for more. It's just, they're just focusing on the minuscule thing. So hopefully people don't, because the cat's out of the bag in the first place, right? But if they can focus on something so little and keep it that way, that might be a plus for them. But yeah, I think we're coming up on time here. Was there anything you wanted to plug, Techno?
Sure. On Twitter, I'm TechnoAgorist. You can also find me at technoagorist.com, TechnoAgorist, all one word, just like on Twitter. You can find the project that Cam Harless from the Mad Ones and I work on, which is mlganetwork.com. Really need to update the site and update the shows. But yeah, we need to, and then we also produce shows. We have obviously TechnoAgorist, and then there's the Mad Ones, and then Voluntary Vixens. So if anyone wants to check out those shows, would highly recommend them. And yeah, there's that.
Oh, dude, I listened to them like when they first got started. I probably listened to like their first, like, I don't know, a half dozen or so episodes, maybe it was. And not I didn't, the Voluntary Vixens, I'm sorry, I didn't stop because like I didn't care for them or anything. I just listened to 37 different podcasts at the time. It's just too many.
Yep.
But I didn't realize they were all in your podcast network, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, we produce and edit the shows, and work with our hosts, and it's good stuff.
Cool, man. Good deal.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't know that you provided any of that stuff. So that's really cool.
We did have other shows, but as of now they've kind of, gone down to these three, kind of the base shows. Though we'd love to produce more in the future if we can find the right angles, because that's always the thing. It's finding the right hook. You can't just be another show.
Right.
Yeah, we're
niche.
Yeah, we're lucky to have a little niche. And I definitely want to thank all of our listeners. I know that we have to have some loyal ones, because we get the usual amount of listens every single time. So yeah, we really we're really appreciative.
Can't all be FBI agents.
Yeah, only partially, but
it's got to be one or two. But
it's only the people who have weird, hooded, cloaked profile pictures without faces, who look like
I know those
guys.
creeps.
Yeah, exactly. You know who they are.
Oh shit. Before we get out of here, I think we should do a big fat shout out to our sponsors, Presearch. decentralized search engine, get crypto for searching, no spying, no censorship, all that good stuff.
Yeah, earn crypto as you search, and instead of giving free information and being a product to Google and letting them spy on you. So yeah. Well,
Cool.
Ryan, did you have a quote that you wanted to sign off on?
You got a favorite?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
We usually close out with one, but we always forget to get one ahead of time. So we've just been asking our guests, hey, what do you got?
Well, one that comes to mind very often is, good old Ron Paul. Truth is treason in an empire of lies.
Oh yeah, that is a great one.
That is always a good quote, man. It's reality.
Excellent.
Agorist Nexus out.
Peace.